Today I am here with Dr. K, who is a chiropractor, a functional medicine doctor, as well as functional neurologist. He's also awesome.
Thank you. That's very sweet.
And today we're going to be diving into how to overcome the emotional blockages that are holding you back from taking action to create videos, as well as maybe dealing with some anxieties that you're facing when it comes to getting in front of the camera. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Amanda Horvath, and I'm all about helping business owners and entrepreneurs leverage the power of video without breaking the bank or taking up tons of their time. So if you're looking to use video in your strategy this year, then be sure to subscribe and click the bell to be notified every time I release a new video. Okay, so just to start out, go ahead and tell us a little bit about your story and how you...
So I got into this when I was 18. I was very, very sick. I was torturously in pain. Every one of my joints hurt. I couldn't get out of bed. I mean, it was severe chronic fatigue, severe fibromyalgia, and it went on for years. And I was trying to see all these different medical and allopathic physicians, and I couldn't get any answers, and they would just give me more drugs and more drugs. But what I truly had was above and beyond chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia, which means I'm dying and I can't get out of bed and no one knows why, and it's a very scary, chronic, hopeless thing, was also this severe anxiety disorder that showed up for me. So I've actually been there myself when it comes to anxiety, and we'll talk a little bit about anxiety, what it is neurologically, but also what it is psychologically and how we can move through it. So it was really the thing that was the starting point to me treating over 40,000 patient visits while I was in Austin, Texas, and specializing in this. So there's a lot of things that we can help people move through, you know.
That's awesome. And then also tell them about what happened. You got to a point in your business where you were just kind of doing the same routine over and over again, and you decided to take a break. So tell them a little bit about that.
So, I decided after, 12 years of having a very, very busy, successful natural medicine practice that, I'm saying this for you that's listening because so many of us, we have this idea of what we want and we work and we work and we work to get there. But when we finally have it, I had the dream practice, I had the wonderful car, I had the thing that I helped people all day long with. My heart was fulfilled on some level, but I was also incredibly bored on the inside. And all the while I felt my heart saying, you need to go do this. You need to take a chance. And so I decided to go and travel the world for the last 3 years and went to over 20 countries. And I wanted to just really develop the faith and the knowing in myself that I could create or do anything, or that there was some sort of magic that kind of has us if we just surrender into our heart and the calling of our heart. And that's where it comes in with you listening, is this videography that you're trying to offer, this content you're trying to create, is really your heart wanting to speak. There's something that wants to speak through you. And we need to have a clear lens, a clear vessel for that. Otherwise, it's going to show up and it's going to look like terrible. What I learned from traveling and listening to my heart is that you are okay. You're always protected. You're always supported, even in the moments where you're alone, even in the moments where you didn't have the money, even in the moments. And that's what makes a really raw and vulnerable and juicy heart, which will correspond and correlate to the video that you want to create. So I was recording, I filmed over 1,000 videos on the road, and they were the best ever because
1,000 videos, that's insane.
Yeah, it was really fun. I just fell in love with it. I was like, wow, it's so beautiful. I love nature and I love to film this. And plus I didn't have much people to talk to, so I got to talk to myself in a camera. But it was like I felt like I had a little friend traveling with me everywhere I went. But I just fell in love with the process. And I fell in love with the path of it being the vulnerable path where I get to share the most deep and intense parts of myself and in my journey and know that it was fine. And to be honest, the more vulnerable I went, and I would Facebook Live them even, the more people were like, God, I really want to talk to this person. And that's available for all of us, but so that stands in the way of our videos a lot of times.
Yeah, absolutely. And next week, if you guys like this week's video, then next week we're going to be diving into his content strategy and how he can leverage those 1,000 videos that he's created, as well as ones moving forward. So be sure to check that out next week. So stay tuned for that. So what a lot of people are dealing with, or what I'm hearing from feedback from DMs and comments and everything, there's one, they blame themselves for not being able to take action. So when I ask, what's stopping you? One is, it's me. I need to like get over myself, get out of my way, and actually hit record. Actually do it, actually take the action. That's one thing. The other thing that a lot of people deal with is that anxiety that comes up when it comes to being on camera. You get in front of, and I had to deal with this too. Sure. You get in front of the camera and it's like your heart's pounding and you could be totally alone in a room with the camera and you're still dealing with this.
Yeah.
So I think if we approach this from those two angles.
Yeah, I love that.
And
sounds
like
great.
just dive in and be fun.
Yeah.
And this is going to be kind of exploratory for us too. So let us know what you think as you're continuing watching this in the comment section below.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're like, I just got to get over myself and snap out of it, and get to it. And I get that. It seems really logical and, try to Tony Robbins yourself to like, make it happen and live with passion and record it and get it out there. But the thing is the thing that you're like, I have to just pick myself up and do it and force myself to do it, that is the thing. That's the whole thing is the fear and doubt and whatever's in the way, that's your doorway. It's not actually the problem where you have to overcome it. You have to accomplish it. And so that fear is a consciousness state. And ultimately, if we were to look at these consciousness states of like, oh my gosh, what if I share and I'm laughed at? Or what if someone leaves a terrible comment? Or, what usually happens, I've worked with different celebrities that do a lot of video and stuff. And, one of them being Kyle. And there's so many videos videos that are like amazing. And then you're so wonderful. And then they'll see that one comment and it will really wreck the person. They're like, oh, the one comment. And our mind is geared this way. We're back in the olden days, we're living as a man and woman hunting and fetching water. It was very different than just going to Starbucks for a triple shot venti latte or something, where you would have to go out and have to be in the world. And it was important that our mind looked for the threat and looked for the danger. And so it'll oftentimes focus in on this danger and then we're stuck, we're trapped into this thing. So what we want to do is whatever the danger or threat is, that's not what we want to demonize. It's what we actually want to focus our attention on. Like, what is the threat? What is the danger? Well, I feel like I would feel like I'd be laughed at. I feel like I would be judged. Well, that is the beauty behind doing video content, because when we do video content, that's never about the thing we think it's about. We're going to make content. But really what this is about, if you're doing it from a really heart-led, real, genuine, loving, awesome way, is that you're doing it from a place of, I want to be of service. I want to give. So first things, before we even get into number one with you, is to change the whole idea. Instead of trying to get people to subscribe or how do I get customers, fall in love with the service of it. Stop making this, number one, about you. It's not about you. It's not about us at all. It's about our service, because if we focus all the time on getting it perfect and getting it this way and getting it that way, then what we're doing is very fake, in a very fake way, trying to like make ourselves look a certain way to a population, when if we were just really honest and raw with ourselves and honest and raw with the people we're with, that you could just show up and it's just beautiful. It's natural unfoldment. And so number one is get you out of the way. It's not about you. And number two, and the very first part of this, is it's about service. Fall in love with, how do I serve at all times, because then if you're filming and you burp, it's hilarious, it's just like part of your personality. You don't have to be like, I gotta edit that, that's not perfect. And because the world is dying for some real,
authenticity,
honest, something real. And don't play into that, because you're just creating more BS for people to watch. Just be you.
So let's back up just a little bit here. So you're so great at like coaching people through the emotional blockages and really diving into the feeling world of it, but instead of just being all in our heads, because we tend to get super in our heads about this stuff. Sure. And one of the things that I love to talk about is that when you get in front of a camera, what you're dealing with is actually your subconscious mind. That's like basically this fear is happening, everything is happening behind the scenes, and consciously you're telling yourself, I'm okay, breathe, I don't need to be nervous. This is ridiculous, right? And if we can approach it from the subconscious mind level and get deep into what's happening there, then that's a better approach.
Yeah.
So say I was someone and I still am. I'm still dealing with anxiety on many different levels, right? Like, how could someone, what would be like a process that we could go through to actually make movement on these things?
Yeah. And to tie it back in with number one, where I just got to pick myself up and do it, you know, and I get upset at myself because I'm not doing it, is step one is whatever. So what I always would do in the beginning, particularly until you get more comfortable, is you just get quiet. And you could start your camera or you could just start it after, but take a moment to really breathe, connect in with your breath, just really feel what's alive for me. And this will become an awareness exercise that not only helps you with video and being more honest and real in your content and also how you show up with someone you love, but it's actually going to allow you to become more clairsentient and be able to feel your feelings, feel what's going on. Ooh, I feel tight. I feel this energy like in my body, and just allow you to feel it. It's true for you. You're learning to trust that. I mean, that's a big deal. So that's what's cool about this process. You're doing way above and beyond just creating content now. You're feeling, and then you're getting curious. What is this anxiety, or what is this stress? What is this? You know, is it about being seen? Is it about being judged? Is it about being not good enough? What if I share my deepest heart and I'm laughed at? That's really what's happening. Anxiety, stage fright, you know, high blood pressure when you stand there in front of a camera, that's all a symptom of what if they don't love me? What if I'm not good enough? And it's this judgment. And so if you could hit a button and just be at peace with yourself, your videos will be amazing every time because you are you and you're perfect the way you are. So let that be your practice amongst filming this video. It's just, man, I'm just learning to just feel what's there, honor it, ask it some questions. Why are you feeling this? And what I want you to do is really feel and breathe and let it move through you, because those are consciousness states. They're not visible, but it's the 10,000-pound gorilla in the room. It wouldn't show up on your blood test. It wouldn't show up on a CT scan or an X-ray. However, patients would come in all day by the tens of thousands and have this invisible consciousness state, which we call being human, which is, you know, upset, sadness, betrayal, anger, you know, low worth. And this is really what we're here to learn. And if you can just breathe and let this fall off, then we're talking about massive change, not only in video, but we're talking about your life, man. That's what's good. Talking about your life. And so, so that's a really important piece. Yeah. So I would start with that and just recognize that this is not who you are. This fear, this thing, it's so frustrating because who you are is the inspirational spark that makes you even think about turning on a camera. Wow, I have a story that I want to share, but I'm terrified. That's who you are. But the terrified thing is the small self. There's the big creator self that will just get out of the way, and your heart will beat, and your kidneys will filtrate, and your liver will do its thing. It's this magical thing happening right now, right? 110,000 beats your heart will beat today, and something like 64,000 miles of blood pump through your body, and 23,000 breaths every day.
Wow.
Every single day. But that's the creation spark of you that's beating your heart all the time. And our small selves are like, oh, what if they won't like me? It's like, you're a freaking miracle right now. You have, you know?
Yeah. One thing stood out to me that you said was that video, like, this isn't about video, this is about your life. And the more and more that I get in front of the camera, the more that I take action and just start doing it, it's like, it's so amazing how video is purely just a means for transforming things that you're already dealing with in life. So you getting in front of a camera and having anxiety isn't that you're having anxiety because you're getting in front of a camera. It's just putting a light on that. And so it's like an ability to realize this resistance that you have and then really work through it. And it's transformational. Like I talk about this all the time, like stepping in front of the camera has been one of the biggest transformations that I've had purely because it's forced me to deal with stuff. Okay, so I love that. Breathe, get in front of a camera, hit record on your iPhone, alone in your room. You're not going to do anything with this footage. Just hit record and just like take some time to breathe, like close your eyes. You can just let it run. Because I think we have this fear of camera running.
Yeah.
You know, it's
just
like,
cut it.
Oh, the time is ticking. I need to fill the air because we've been taught to like fill the air. And so I think if you can just do this exercise and just breathe, I think another really powerful thing about that is if you do watch it back, right, and you're feeling it and you're feeling the nerves, what you're going to realize is you're just sitting there like this.
Yeah.
But then when you watch back the footage, you remember the feelings and emotions and things that you were feeling, but you see that on the outside, no one else can see it, including yourself.
Totally. Yeah. And you'll see that in the camera. You're like, wow, all this thing was going on in my being, and you're just sitting there with your eyes closed. It's really funny.
It is funny.
So where is that happening? You know, if there was another realm that you could connect with and actually see it, there'd be like you were battling with some, you know, demon or some dragon. Like it's literally man versus self, as they say, right? There's man versus mountain or woman versus mountain. And this is you battling yourself. And there's this war inside. And the reason you're struggling with going on the camera is because of that war of enoughness and not enoughness. And so this is the thing is, you know, I worked with so many clients that some of them would really get the importance of this, and some of them won't. But the inner work is everything. If you really have anything that you're going to share in the world and it's not going to be hollow bone and it's just more stuff, more noise, more crap on the market, and you want it to have the marrow, you've got to be willing to go down to that level. You have to do the work. And how do you do that? By listening, by learning and actually developing your inner listening. What does inner listening give you? Why should I do that, Dr. K and Amanda? Well, because, great question. Thanks for asking. Because this will help you free you. This will help you free you with your relationships. It'll help you free you with your abundance. It'll help you free you just in feeling good and comfortable and in your being. And that's what it's about. And once you have that, it's not even about the camera. You won't even need the cameras. You just, in your life, you'll be, and then people want to hire you or do and work with you in any way they can because they're like, I don't know what it is about that person. There's something like, you know, the people that just feel super grounded and in themselves and they know. Well, they've done the work. They've done their own inner listening. So don't throw this piece out. It's everything. And I would highly challenge you as like every day, with or without a camera, you get up, you sit on your couch, you have your routine, and spend even just 20 minutes sitting and feeling and listening, observing like the clouds moving through the sky. The clouds are always shifting. Sometimes they're rainy. Sometimes it's lightning bolts. You've experienced that in your life, or hailing. Sometimes it's clear and sunny skies, you know. And if you're having lightning bolt morning, I've literally sat there and had a terrible, terrible morning. I kicked my toe on the table and I was just having one of those mornings is super terrible, and I don't want to do the work. And I sat down on the couch, and I sat and I felt, and I breathed and I released, and I allowed myself to feel. What would I choose to feel if I could consciously create in this moment? And I shifted my whole conscious awareness. That's a big deal, because if you can shift your conscious awareness, that means you're in control of your life in a freaking powerful way. Because if you walk into a room and you're like, ooh, I don't know about that guy over there in the corner, he's really kind of not having a good day, everybody's going to stay away from him because he's the bad apple of the bunch. But if that man were to walk in there and just feel sexy and good and confident, everybody's like, wow, who's this guy? It's completely a consciousness game. And what that means, you're driving your spaceship Enterprise. You're in control. What does that mean? Like, you can create anything you want. And this is now, we're way above and beyond video. And so video just becomes fun. Right. It just becomes service, you know? So I cannot stress enough the importance of doing this work. The other piece.
And before we even get to the other piece, I want to like reiterate for the audience, like this is coming from an extremely well-educated, like medicine, right? Like science background to where he understands the physiological elements of everything. Like even just last night, right? We were hanging out at my place and we were, I was asking about like hip pain that I was dealing with. And so he was walking me through this kind of exercise and laying there, and I was feeling, and he was like feeling several different parts of my body and doing the muscle testing where you explain muscle testing. You'll explain it way better than me. How does that work?
Well, you want to get into that piece?
Yeah, just a little bit, yeah.
Well, it's a biofeedback. It's a living biofeedback of how is the body doing right now. If you go and see your doctor, they'll take a picture, they'll take a snapshot, which is your blood work. This is a real-time feedback in the moment where you can say not only, okay, the blood work, that's good, we know this information, but how is the kidney right now? How is the liver right now? And we get a form of biofeedback through an arm strength test. Very awesome, very accurately if provided and done very well. And I've been trained on a professional level how to do this. Anybody can learn this, but it's super important that you utilize it, because you can ask, is there something with this kidney in relationship to the origin of the teeth, where kidney meridian here, the first 4 and bottom 4, or is there a chemical burden on it? Is there a stress? Is it a structure? So you can find out very precisely, very quickly, and free, inexpensively. There's no testing involved other than you with a practitioner. This is powerful when it comes to anxiety or stress or, being in front of people, because blood tests can't do that.
Right.
So anyway.
So he like touches different areas, and then like with your arm sees, he'll like touch my kidney and then push down on my arm. He's like, okay, that's a little weak. And then he's like, okay, where is this coming from? Is this coming from, your work? Is it coming from your family, relationship, sibling? And he kind of can pinpoint the emotional blockages that are occurring. So when you're dealing with these things, like, okay, so I guess what I was getting at was this, when he's talking about these things, he's not just talking about it from this woo-woo level of like, this is what you should be sitting and focusing and everything, but it's when your mental game is off, then your physical game is off. And so when he first started, he was starting by fixing the physical, and realized quickly after that, oh, this is far more than just physical. This is also emotional. And so now he's shifted a lot of his practice to helping people through this emotional work. So everything that he's saying, like, listen closely, because he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, it's core. It's core, because a patient would come into my office with autoimmune disease, and I say this to you, this is important. I know this is about video, but it's all related. If you have a good doctor that gets it, because my background is all of the neurology and how to use that functionally, and how to use physiology and how to use biochemistry and nutrition and emotion and consciousness and structure, they're all related. It's all intertwined. And so if you're really able to identify the core things, like, a hip is never just a hip issue. There's other, it's muscle, it's bone, it's ligament, it's organ, it's neurology, it's the nerves, right? It's also the ability to stand powerfully forward and be stable on your own 2 feet, and your body will guide you. And what's cool about muscle testing, it's awesome. I love it, but I use it even less and less today, because really what I love to show you is you. Like, instead of me being the practitioner and I'm here to fix you, kind of the priest approach, let's show you how to actually pray, so to speak. How do you actually get in connection with you, so you know you in a powerful way, and then you have faith that anything comes up, you can actually heal it. Like, that's a big deal. So
yeah.
And this is how we heal people's relationships. And once you heal that relationship with you, you can make videos all damn day, and it's just fun. So
exactly.
It's cool.
Yeah, I love it.
So
okay, so we got the like anxiety portion of it. What have you found in your practice and talking to different people when they have blockages in life where they just feel like they can't move forward for whatever reason? Their business is stuck, their relationships are stuck, or maybe they want to take action on a New Year's resolution, but it's not happening for whatever reason. Like, what insights might you offer, or areas that someone should start like asking questions
just
about?
In general, being stuck on something.
Yeah, like unable to really like take action, because there's so many times in life where we want to take action. So for example, with video, yeah, I want to create videos. I've been wanting to create videos for 2 years, but I just can't get there. There's this happening in life. I don't have the time. My business, I'm already doing everything that I'm already a solopreneur doing everything. How can I add this extra thing? So we have these stories of why we can't do it, but really it's something else. Yeah. So I'm curious, just like maybe, and we can like talk through it, because I know you might not have the right answer right away, but like questions that someone can ask, or,
Well, I mean, number one, try to turn this into, if we're talking about videos, try to turn this into service. one thing that really helps me is recognizing, like, the world is on fire. The world is on fire. I have friends that live in Indonesia that send me videos of rolling oceans of trash. You know, we have almost 40,000 children that die every day of starvation on this planet. Every day, you know, like, so many people don't ever get an opportunity to even think about our modern, you know, middle class problems of, oh, I'm afraid to be seen. Let go of that. The world really needs us. It needs us to show up powerfully. So it's not about abundance. It's not about, you know, money. It's not about, it's about being of service to people that don't really have a voice even, or being of service because other people don't have a voice, you know. It doesn't have to be necessarily something that's working with people overseas or something, but recognizing we have an important time in humanity, and this is kind of a wider back picture, but you have to think, since the beginning of Homo sapiens sapiens, when man first showed up after, if we believe the science story of the evolutionary spark in 13.8 billion years ago, when man showed up on the planet and the evolution, we've fought, we've battled, we'd carry seed and water and fire. There's fire carriers for these old tribal communities. Like their job was to keep their tribe alive. And what does that look like? It's you, like it's us. And there's so many options. Like, what kind of burrito do I want? What kind of coffee do I want? Oh, I want something from Amazon Prime. It just pops on my front doorway. Humanity has worked really long and really hard to get us in our weird little American bubble and around the Western world to have this sort of ease. And it's like, man, if you're feeling bored and uninspired and not like, oh, I'm like excited to get moving here, it's because you have lost some level of connection to the bigger picture. You got to shake yourself. You got to widen back. We're looking at this thing all damn day, and we don't see the beauty of the stars above. I mean, we've literally blocked them out with so much ambient light. And I just want to widen you back. Like, there's a reason you're on this planet, damn it. I mean,
and there's a reason you have this calling to get in front of the camera too, you know? Yeah. And like, that's it. And I think that there's something that when we're denying that, it brings this sort of like resistance and this feeling of lack of fulfilling our desires and our life calling or whatever, if you will, right? So I think like what I've found to really help in these scenarios is one, diet, right? Like making sure the things that you're putting in your body are actually like you're taking on good energy from things that you're eating, and you're not taking in like chemicals and different things like that. Are there any other like tangible takeaways that you have?
Well, I mean, one of them is clarity. Like, what is it that makes you even think about standing in front of a camera or sitting in front? Like, what is the message that if you served through service, you know, you weren't trying to get clients, but you were just trying to serve that young woman or that young man that's going through the same shit that you went, but some years earlier, just to further along the path. You don't have to show up and be the expert. You don't need to do that. You share your heart, and people a little bit further down the path are gonna be like, wow, that's really awesome. This guy's like really genuine. So that's one, is some clarity, right? And the other thing is get support, you know, get someone like a buddy and say, hey, how about we knock out these such and such videos, or get a coach. There's the most powerful force for transformation on this planet, period, because you can really hold people towards that clarity, that vision, what they're headed for, and push them through. You know, like, oh, I don't want to do the thing today it's like the one thing, you clear that, and then you're like, whoa, you know, and you can bring your reality much faster. So clarity, support, getting that wider picture of why we're even doing this. And then finally getting in touch with that thing that really what is the thing that drives you to even share? Like, what is it you want to share? Widen back. What is that? Oh, wow, I really want to bring more joy and ease and peace in people's lives. That's pretty cool. That's a noble thing. How could I best do that? What's my own experience that allows me to share that peace? You know? Yeah.
I like the own experience portion of it, because it really is like the more and more that I keep doing this, the more and more I realize that my audience is me. Like, you know, like it's like burned out, been doing a service-based job for so long. You're feeling like your clients aren't really like, respecting you for the skills that you have. You're being undermined. You're feeling like you kind of hit a wall, right? And so video was kind of my way of getting out of that and kind of showing the world like this is who I am, you know what I mean? And so they kind of feel that same way. So I think when you go back and you really analyze, where have you come from? What things have you learned along the way, and reflect on that? And even like starting to create videos for your old self. To a certain extent,
totally,
can be a really great way to kind of start getting over that and tapping into that service-based portion of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, what is it that you would have really benefited from, and what is it you really needed at the time that you were in your darkest hour, or one of them? And also, finally, like, one thing I would say is like, play with just recording yourself, even if it's just your iPhone. You do your little meditation. You feel what's true for me, what's not. What is this feeling trying to teach me? Breathing, letting it go, you know, like it's a process of feeling, widening back and letting it go. But when you're done with that meditation, just click the record button and just start talking. You're not going to send this out to anyone. Like if you're new in this game, like just record and start to talk. And, you know, it's like just start. And when you know, like when you have a conversation with your best friend, you don't have to like, okay, here's the 10 points I need to go through. Like the thing unfolds, like this conversation unfolds because we're in our hearts, we're talking about something we both love, and we've got endless amounts of things that we can say. Trust yourself and learn, if you don't have that trust, to just turn on the camera, and you'll develop the faith of like, whoa, I have so much that wants to come out. And you may find, God, that was so good, I could totally share that. But you're not doing this to record it and share it and make it all look done and dusted. Like you're doing this just to get the juices flowing of you, you know? I guarantee you when you first start, it's always a little, you know, rougher. But if you're doing it and you know you're just going to hit delete right after, it's actually like, it's like some of the best therapy you can have in the world, truly. And by the way, everything that you want to say it's you talking to you. If you become a coach, it's weird. You attract those people, and you're literally talking to yourself all day, and you're like, oh my God.
It's weird.
You're teaching you.
Yeah, I've been like doing this deep dive into who's watching and trying to figure it out. And like, the more and more I collect information, I'm like, oh my goodness, Amanda, you're just talking to yourself.
Pretty much.
It's awesome. Okay, so just to wrap all of this up, I think we've given some really great tips. Hopefully you guys found value in this. Definitely go ahead and drop a comment below. I would love for people to know how they can interact with you and what you're doing these days.
Well, I mean, I work with people in the container of coaching. So we take that most powerful transformational work and apply it to functional medicine. We apply it to functional neurology. We apply it to really powerful concepts around integrated nutrition and transform people's lives. And it's, you know, there's coaching out there, there's doctoring out there, there's counseling out there, there's all these things, but it's like I started to realize, and I say this for you as well, like create would be the most total hell yes thing that you could offer the world. It'll be totally unique. You're like, well, doctors don't do that, or coaches don't do that. And it's like, exactly. That's a quality thing to have, is like, nobody else is doing this, exactly what I want to do. Put together, like, what would be the most fun way to do it? And that's what you offer, right? Well, that's what I offer. I combine all of that epic coaching, combine all that epic doctoring. We get an hour and a half of work together each week. That kind of thing is exciting to me. Otherwise, I just don't want to do it anymore. We're just fixing broken bodies. We're not getting to the center of the marrow of why we're here on this planet. So if you want to look into something like that, it would be lifeempowered.com. I'd love to talk with you and see if we're a fit or not. And
and he does it virtually as well. Like you can get your blood work done, and then he can review it and work through that emotional component of it as well.
So much fun.
He's amazing.
So much fun.
I'm all about Dr. K.
Yeah, that's very sweet.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys, and be sure to tune in next week where we are going to dive into his content strategy and how he can take his gifts and really blow them up in the world as well. I'll see you in the next video.